Hey guys, and welcome back to the briefing room. I know I haven't done a video in a while, and I realized I said I was going to, but I kind of underestimated how much was actually going to be on my plate. Of course, I have a full-time job and a family of my own, so I have several responsibilities on that front to take care of, and I've also been helping Bowwood while he's recovering, doing stuff around the house and mowing his lawn and so forth, because he's doing a lot better, but he's still in recovery and there's still a lot of stuff he can't do. So I've been helping him do that kind of thing. So I kind of underestimated how much time that would actually take on my end. But there was some ROBOTECH news out, and I am almost done editing another video, so that should be out later today. But I hopefully will start transitioning away from that. He's starting to get more and more stuff, more and more restrictions taken away. So I should be back here soon. As far as I have a couple scripts that are done that just need to be filmed, and I have a couple of things that are filmed that just need to be edited. Let's Plays are super easy, so I don't have to worry about that. As far as that's concerned, that's what's going on. I apologize, but that's just the way things have to be. So, about this ROBOTECH news. Seamus Kelly got a exclusive first look at some of the art from the new Titan ROBOTECH comic series. So, of course, I'm going to cover that. Duh. But there's several interesting things. The first thing I want to cover, though, is the synopsis that came with it. The story summary. Not just another retelling of the Macross saga. In July, the story continues as we bring Carl Masick's original vision full circle. I see what you did there. Into the circle, I get that. Taking into account every iteration of the series, this new ROBOTECH #1 casts a fresh eye over classic characters like Rick Hunter, Lisa Hayes, Lynn Minmay, Roy Fokker, Claudia Grant, and Henry Global. Brian Wood and Marco Torrini take us back to Macross Island, where nothing can be taken for granted. Now, the thing that really struck me there when I was looking at that was taking into account every iteration of ROBOTECH. So there's a lot of iterations just in the comics alone, not to mention the books or the show itself. There's been a lot of iterations of the ROBOTECH story, including one where Lisa falls in love with Roy and a bunch of other crazy stuff. But I just wonder what they mean by how they're taking every iteration. Like, that's a very interesting thing to add to the summary, is every iteration. So we'll have to see about that. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be that's an interesting way of summarizing it. It's an interesting way of starting the comics by taking influence from other comics and the books and everything else. So we'll have to see. as far as the art that was shown, it looks great. I have no complaints over it. There is a couple things that I found interesting. First of all, the armed guard that's accompanying Roy, that didn't happen in the show, so it's kind of interesting that that's happening in these new comics. And what they're wearing is also very interesting. It's very Halo-esque. It's like a mix between Star Wars and Halo. It's very interesting, and that's it's an interesting approach to take for the series. As far as that goes, I'm not sure what they are, because Roy is clearly still wearing the Veritech uniform, so they're not Veritech pilots. Is that the new Destroid uniform? Is that the Ghost uniform? There's a lot of questions as far as what that armor is for, and who it's for, and why it's there, and all of that stuff. We'll just have to see. I can't even take a guess as to what it is, just because we have no information to go on other than the art itself. The other interesting thing I found about the art is the design of the Veritechs. Now, I'll put like an overlay real quick over the screen, but these Veritechs they're very similar, but yet very different from the original design. They still are more closely based on the F-14 than any other fighter that we currently have. But they also are very different. Like the original design of the Veritech is like copy-paste F-14, whereas this has got a weird like lean to it, and the cockpit's a little different design. Still got the swing wings though. It's very interesting. Now, I know they said that the comics aren't going to have anything to do with the live-action movie or anything, but I kind of am wondering if this is kind of a move to shift a little bit away from the original design, so that way the live-action movie can then shift a little bit from that comics design and do something different enough that they won't get sued, because they do not have the rights to any of the mecha designs. So I'm kind of wondering if that's what they're going to do. They're just kind of slowly shifting, so we're going to be a little bit more comfortable when the live-action movie designs come out and you see what the Veritechs look like in that. Because it's very different, but again, it's still similar enough that I don't think they could get away with it for the movie. But it might be like that middle step, so we can transition away from our expectations being the same thing, which honestly, the people that have that expectation are just so stupid. I've covered that numerous times. I'm not opening up that can of worms again, but it's interesting. Again, have no context. Rick got some awesome shades. I too have gotten some awesome shades recently, but it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing to see. It's going to be interesting to see how these comics play out. But that's all I have for you right now. Once we have more information, once we have something, I'll cover this a little bit more in depth. I'll cover the comics, obviously. But let me know what you guys think about this exclusive sneak peek down below. Let me know what you think about the taking every iteration thing and the fresh take on Robotech down below as well. And hey, the story was covered by Seamus Kelly. I already talked about that earlier. Seamus is also doing a Robotech themed podcast right now called the RoboSkull Podcast. You can check out the Twitter for that podcast as RoboSkull Cast. And they'll update you when they release new episodes. The first episode was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I was listening to it while I cleaned. Second episode they said should be out soon. It's him and a friend of his that hasn't watched Robotech before, and they are covering the episodes of Robotech. The first podcast they did the first 2 episodes of Robotech, and then they'll do 3 and 4. And it's interesting because as fans, we've kind of grown accustomed to Robotech, and it's interesting to hear like a fresh take on Robotech from his friend, and you know, they bring up some interesting points, especially about my favorite part was Roy talking about how Roy and Clyde are obsessed with Roy's kill counts. That's an entertaining conversation. But yeah, definitely check them out. I'll also provide a link down below for that Twitter page, so you can check out the Twitter page and see when new episodes come out. That's it for you guys today. If you like this video, click subscribe, click like. I have a Patreon. You could always support me that way. I have a website and a Facebook page too. You can check those out. And I do hope you enjoyed. And I will see you guys next time.